Okay, here we go. I am going to show you how I do my botanical impression art, for want of a better word. So first of all, I'm going to go over all the supplies. These are corrugated plastic, so they're just like cardboard, except they're made of plastic, so they don't obviously get wet. They're all stained, but that's okay. So I bought these at Michael's, and occasionally I've seen them at the dollar store, but we have different dollar stores in Canada than you do in the US, if that's where you are. So I think it's like a 24 by 36 sheet or something, and it makes quite a few. And I just use an X-Acto knife or a rug cutting knife to do them. Then paper. I don't have an example of a cover for most of these because I buy most of my papers in full sheets if I can. But this is the mineral paper. Oops, sorry. This is the mineral paper. I have to show it to you this way because it's just too big. So this is 11 by 14, and I mostly work, I mostly work at 5 by 7 to, or up to 8 by 10. So this is 11 by 14, and if I cut it in half and then in half again, I always cut it to 5 by 7, but essentially I get 4 sheets out of each paper. It's a very smooth plastic paper with a bit of calcium carbonate in it. So the rougher side is the one, I think that is the one on the top. Maybe not. Can't tell. Doesn't really matter anyway. So that is the mineral paper. I also found this one, which is also, both of these come from Amazon. So this is from Etc., which is available in Canada, in the US, because that's where I found it. But I did go onto the Amazon Canadian site. This is super thick and it's quite lovely. It comes in a bunch of sizes. In Canada, it only comes at 9 by 12, but it is the least expensive, but it's pure plastic or polypropylene. Not that it matters because it takes the paint quite well. Be careful what you buy, because I bought one kind that said it was okay for watercolor, but it just repelled the water and it was an awful mess. So that's the paper for the plastic. Then for the paper, cotton paper, I always use Meeden. It is really inexpensive and very nice paper. I don't have any cold press. I only have rough, which is even more textured than a cold press. So I'll show you that, and I'll compare it to the good quality sheets that I do have are here somewhere. There we go. Okay, so this is a sample of, this is my favorite paper. It's Saunders Waterford, and you can see the difference, right? It's virtually the same color, but this is maybe a little bit yellower. This is the rough, and this is the Saunders Waterford cold press. So these are both fine. I haven't used this one, the rough. I'm experimenting with it today. Okay, so, and then the hot press, which is, I have more luck, I think, with, well, depending on what I want to do. Anyway, hot press is also from Meeden. They bought out or already owned an Academy watercolor, also called Bao Hung. It's now been rebranded as Meeden, and these I think are about, in Canada, are about $16.95 for 20 sheets, and I would get 40 out of them. And sometimes I buy the bigger ones too, because it's always less expensive to buy larger sheets and cut them down. And I cut my stuff with one of these. It's a Fiskars thing, and it can go up to 15 inches, I think, by 12. So it's a really, probably one of the very best purchases I made the first year I started painting. And what else? Okay, now for these, I don't use expensive paints because I'm watering them down so much anyway. So this is my Meeden set. I can't remember how much it was, but it wasn't very much. It came in a kit with this. So it also has brushes which look like this. So it's a really good purchase. I think it was about $45 Canadian. So not bad at all. So I use these, and I'm going to show you how I make. I don't have this color in Meeden, but I really want to use it today. So I'm going to show you. I use Mission Gold, and they're not very expensive. They're cheaper than Daniel Smith and some of the other ones, but these come from Korea, and the colors are very intense, as you probably know if you've watched anything I do. So I'm trying to use these very rarely, but I really wanted the color that I want, because I don't want to use acrylics if I don't have to, because why buy something when I already have paint? So I'm going to show you how I do it. But before I do that, I'm going to show you what else I use, because I use a lot of different things. So this is Brush Show, and I bought these, I bought these 4 years ago, and I think I bought maybe 2 kits, but they're powdered watercolor, but they are staining. So I'm going to use them today, so I'll show you, but these are really wonderful, and because they're powder, they do some pretty wild things. So that's that. Then these are what I'm going to show. I'll show you that after, sorry. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of other things too, because I love supplies. So I got these years ago by these are Dilutions by Ranger. So I generally don't spray them, but I can put them into a bottle, or you can use one of my favorite tools is a pipette, or a pipette you might call it, but it is, I can open this up and just stick it in there and just use it that way, because it saves, and this of course would be messy to spray, so it saves and allows me to direct where I want it to go. Now I also have Dr. P.H. Martin's Radiant Concentrated Watercolor. These are the ones that I was recommended by somebody who does flowing type of art. And you can get huge selections of calligraphy inks that have a lot of colors. When you buy a glass pen, this came with them. So that's what these are. And these ones are all metallic, but they're a lot of fun. So this one is a violet color. And then, so those are my sort of things that I use quite a bit, but those ones are they're all liquid, and they're all quite staining. So I just wanted to try keep up with watercolor for a while to see how it goes, because I don't think it really matters what you use for this technique. So these are all Bombay, again, calligraphy inks, and I've put them into these little bottles. They have these handy dandy nozzles on them. Denise Love, for example, uses these she has a much bigger bottle that looks like this, but these are really expensive. These are a quarter of the price for about $5. Anyway, so I have a whole bunch of these, and this I will use them, but I want to learn the technique first, like figure out really how it works before I start using them, because to use these is way more money than to use what I have, because I have so much watercolor. All right, and then there's also acrylics. So everything is liquid in this and also in my water flow technique. So Daler Rowney has this FW brand and it's wonderful. Beautiful colors. I ran out of this color, so I bought Liquitex acrylic ink, which I'm sure works fine. What else do I have? Oh yeah, and then for some, this is not as fluid as those ones, so I always put more water in them, but this is my version of buff titanium, which is a nice color to push in some colors, in some types of paintings. But anyway, so I have a couple of bottles of those. And then golden is, I think it's probably one of the most expensive, and I don't use it very much. And each type of supply you use, operates, but it works differently. So some really push the color away, some attract it. It's very interesting. It's part of the reason why the watercolor flow is so volatile and unable to be controlled. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I fill one of these bottles. So I just buy these from the dollar store. As you can see, it had water in it, but I have so many sources of water, I don't need another spray bottle. So this is red violet, so a cross between what I call true purple with extra added red. So I basically just add a couple of inches. These are really fluid ink, not fluid, well they are quite fluid. They're made with honey, so they flow very quickly. But I put, I don't know, maybe a 2-inch squeeze, if the Meaden ones come out differently, so I would have been able to show you. And then I take a pipette and I just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I really have no idea. This is just me trying it. I'm trying to do them all consistent. That's why I do 5. So I just put that in there, and you can, where's my lid? Oh, there it is. This is a spray bottle, but I won't use it that way. I'll just use it with a pipette. So basically you just shake the heck out of it. And if you can't get it to turn into, or to get rid of all the color, then just stick a brush in and stir it around. It's more messy, so I try and do it this way first. And it's starting to come. Yeah, it's almost there. Anyway, so that's how I do it. And then I just label what color it is, because I will not remember. So this is red violet. Red violet. So you don't really use a ton for this particular type of painting, but some of them, like when I do my water flow, you need it to be thicker. So this probably wouldn't work, although I would probably try it, just because I'm like that. I always want to push the envelope and see how far things go. All right, so the other thing I have is one of these spray bottles that it mists more, and I use it I always wet the paper before I put the leaves down on it. So that's that. What else? I think that's pretty much it. I'll show you once they're done how I deal with drying things. All right, so that's it. Thank you for watching. Part 2 of actual painting is coming up.